When engaging in therapist Facebook groups, it's crucial to remember the power of empathy. Every post, question, or comment comes from someone reaching out for support or guidance. Recognizing the vulnerability it takes to share professional challenges in a public forum is a first step in providing meaningful, empathetic responses.
Welcome to the Colleague Down the Hall podcast. This episode is sponsored by the Collab Oasis Clinical Consultation Groups. Hi, I'm Jeanene Wolf, and I'm your colleague down the hall. I have a passion for helping fellow therapists get the clinical and collegial support we all need to do this work. And wow, it just keeps getting harder every day. I'm the founder and facilitator of the Collab Oasis Clinical Consultation Groups. I have been a social worker for almost 30 years, and I own a successful solo online private practice. More of us than ever are practicing in solo or online practices, and we all need colleagues to process cases with, commiserate with on those really hard days, and also to celebrate our successes with. In this podcast, I'll bring you insights about trends and changes in our field and sit down with amazing therapists who are doing amazing work. We'll discuss fictionalized cases, ways to practice sustainably, and of course, there will be plenty of laughing. I love laughing with friends. I'm so glad to have you as one of my colleagues down the hall.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Jeanene Wolf, and I'm going to share some thoughts about therapist Facebook groups. So many of these groups are amazing communities where we can get business advice, share resources, and find connection with peers. But showing up behind screens can sometimes lead to lapses in professionalism, kindness, and empathy. All too often, I see pretty specific client information being shared as a way of getting online case consultation or comments that are judgmental or shaming. This was a really surprising and disappointing discovery for me when I first joined therapist Facebook groups in 2016. So my goal of this episode is to provide therapists like you with insights and practical guidelines on how to engage constructively and supportively in online therapist communities. At their core, therapist Facebook groups offer a sense of belonging and community. They provide a platform where therapists can share their experiences, challenges, and successes with peers who understand the unique pressures of our profession. This peer support is so helpful in combating feelings of isolation, especially for solo practitioners or those working in remote areas. They are often filled with lots of free content and information where members can tap into the collective wisdom of their peers and find resources for clinical questions, guidance on best practices, and updates on the latest research in the field. The diversity of perspectives within these groups enriches our experience as members range from seasoned professionals with years of experience to new therapists bringing fresh ideas and insights, and even students. Beyond supporting and learning, therapist Facebook groups often serve as platforms for professional growth. Opportunities for continuing education, such as webinars, workshops, and online courses, are frequently shared. Discussions around broader case dynamics and therapeutic modalities can expose therapists to new ways of practicing and supporting our clients. Some of the reasons clients join these groups is because they're seeking advice about complex cases or unique therapeutic challenges. These groups are spaces to seek general advice and resources from colleagues. We also share resources, whether it's a helpful article, an upcoming training, or a therapeutic tool that has proven effective. Therapists use these groups to share resources that can benefit others in their professional journey. We look to find collegial support. The therapeutic work, while rewarding, as we all know, can be emotionally draining. These groups offer a space to find collegial support, share burdens, and find solace in the understanding that others face similar challenges. I am all about normalizing the things that we experience in our field that we're afraid to talk about or that were never taught in grad school, or ways that we were taught things in grad school that just aren't practical or realistic in the real world. And it's a great place for finding some of your therapy besties. I've met so many amazing therapists in these groups, and I will be forever grateful for that. We also look for networking opportunities. There are a lot of specific Facebook groups for therapists specific to a state or geographical area, and this allows for connecting with other professionals that can lead to referrals, collaborative opportunities, and like I said earlier, even friendships. These connections can be particularly valuable for those looking to expand their practice or explore new niches in psychotherapy. So basically, therapist Facebook groups are great in that they offer a community that supports the multifaceted needs of mental health professionals, because most of us don't have someone in our lives who truly understand the uniqueness of our field and the complexity that it creates in our lives at times. They also offer a unique blend of camaraderie, learning, and growth, making them an indispensable part of a lot of therapist professional lives. But it's also important to remember there are appropriate ways to be showing up in these groups, and that's what I'm going to address now. When engaging in therapist Facebook groups, it's crucial to remember the power of empathy. Every post, question, or comment comes from someone reaching out for support or guidance. Recognizing the vulnerability it takes to share professional challenges in a public forum is a first step in providing meaningful, empathetic responses. It's a good idea to approach each interaction with the understanding that the individual behind the screen may be facing a tough situation, feeling uncertain, or simply seeking reassurance. Responding with empathy not only fosters a supportive environment, but also reinforces the notion that the group is a safe space for sharing and learning. Not sharing everything, but certainly a lot of things that can be shared. It's about seeing the person behind the post, acknowledging their experience, and offering support or advice that acknowledges their feelings and perspectives. To put it simply, imagine saying your comment right to their face, up close and in person, and how they might be receiving what you are sharing if you were in person. Keep in mind that you want to stay professional. The anonymity and distance of online interactions can sometimes lead to a lapse in the professionalism we typically uphold in face-to-face encounters. And this is unfortunate, and we see this all across all forms of social media these days. However, maintaining professionalism is so important. It means engaging in discussions with the same respect, courtesy, and ethical consideration you would offer in any professional setting. Upholding professionalism includes being mindful of how you present your advice, respect diverse, therapeutic approaches, and avoid personal attacks or derogatory comments. It's about creating a space where all members feel respected and valued, reinforcing the group's role as a professional resource rather than a casual social media interaction. If you are constantly showing up in a defensive, shaming, or judgmental manner, imagine how that will impact your therapy practice in terms of referrals and support from colleagues. Imagine sending a referral to someone who is constantly showing up in a negative light. Remember also that therapists have therapists, so you may have a client who sees how you engage online. Not everyone uses their real name when they are creating their profile in Facebook. Remember to offer constructive feedback. Diverse opinions and approaches are important in our field, and therapist Facebook groups are a great way to be a part of this diversity. When you disagree with a perspective or approach shared in a group, it's important to offer your feedback in a way that is constructive and enriching. This means framing your response in a manner that provides an alternative viewpoint without negating the original poster's experience or advice, or comments by other posters. Constructive feedback is solution-oriented, aimed at building understanding and offering new perspectives rather than tearing down or diminishing others' contributions. It's about adding value to the conversation, encouraging dialogue, and learning from different viewpoints. Please also keep in mind that culture and values vary amongst humans, and we are humans first. So remember to be open and accepting of all types of differences. I love the way our field has embraced diversity. No longer are potential clients needing to pick from the stereotypical white woman in a cardigan, but they can now choose a therapist who they feel comfortable with by something they might have in common, or by the tone of their culture, or the way they have their professional photographs displayed on their website. So pink hair, check. Tattoos and piercings, check. Part of a community such as a religion, culture, or other identifier such as being LGBTQ, check. I really love this about the way therapists are showing up as themselves and embracing this form of authentic marketing. It's going to allow for such a better connection with our clients, and with them being able to get support from someone who identifies with them in some way or has training or experience in something that's really important to them. We need to respect privacy and confidentiality. One of the foundational pillars of psychotherapy is the commitment to client privacy and confidentiality. This ethical obligation extends to online interactions within therapist Facebook groups, especially. It's crucial to avoid sharing any information that could possibly identify a client, including specific details of their situation, personal characteristics, or outcomes. When discussing clinical cases or seeking advice on client-related challenges, always generalize the information and focus on the therapeutic issue rather than the personal details. This not only protects client confidentiality, but also models best practices for handling sensitive information in a public or semi-public online forum. Please, please remember that therapist Facebook groups are often closed, but by no means are they private. I have seen screenshots of posts describing someone's case. I've heard descriptions of posts in other settings where someone's describing someone else's case. I know therapists who've been reported to boards or insurance companies based on posts, and none of this is okay. And while the latest trend is to post anonymously, there are still people who will know who made the post, such as the group admin and moderators. And depending on what you share, someone may be able to determine who the client is that you're posting about. And just keep in mind, would you want your therapist sharing about you on Facebook? It's important to provide supportive and helpful responses. Ask clarifying questions. If a post is vague or lacking details, encourage asking polite, clarifying questions that can help in providing more tailored advice. But again, not if this is a posting about a case. Share resources. There's value in sharing articles, books, and other professional resources that can aid in addressing the colleague's issue. When appropriate, you can suggest referrals, recommend professional referrals, or suggest seeking supervision for case consultation or complex business issues. We need to keep in mind professional development. Recommend relevant training, workshops, and courses can provide further insight to the issue at hand. Remember that all groups have moderators who are a great resource for managing conflicts and ensuring the group remains a supportive environment. You can click on the post and notify them if someone's behavior is unprofessional or violates confidentiality. And please keep in mind that the assumption is that therapist Facebook groups are run by therapists, but there are some very large groups out there that are not run by therapists. And so the way they're going to be moderated is going to vary greatly. And so you need to keep in mind who is running the group that you are participating in. It's also important to avoid being judgmental. Jumping to conclusions or making judgments based on snippets of information can not only be harmful but misleading. It's important to remember that posts are often a surface-level expression of deeper, more complex issues that therapists are navigating with their clients. Offering advice or feedback without assuming or judging encourages a culture of openness and trust. It fosters a space where therapists feel comfortable sharing their uncertainties and challenges without fear of being criticized or misunderstood, exactly the way we would interact with our clients. When responding to posts, ask clarifying questions if necessary, and always assume positive intent. This approach ensures that the group remains a supportive environment where all members feel valued and understood. And if your comment points to laws or ethics, and we love to throw those words out in therapist Facebook groups, it's important to link a resource to support this instead of vaguely accusing people of ethical or legal violations. You need to remember that we practice in different states and different countries, and we have different license types. And so what's okay for one person may not be okay for another, but based on state license type and those other factors. Please steer clear of public shaming. Public shaming, calling out or criticizing colleagues in an online forum not only damages individual relationships, but it can erode the foundation and trust of peers. I've spoken to so many therapists who participated in therapist Facebook groups or consultation groups where there was fear-mongering, shaming, and judging. And it really makes it difficult for that therapist to feel that they can trust anyone moving forward. So when disagreements arise, as they inevitably do in any dynamic community, addressing concerns privately and respectfully is key. This approach not only resolves the immediate issue more effectively, but also preserves the integrity of the group and maintains a supportive environment for all members. Now, I'm not talking about DMing people with offers, trying to get people to buy something from you. I'm saying if a post seems to be going in a way that's not comfortable, or maybe someone is misunderstanding you, obviously trying to post a comment to clear up that misunderstanding is important. But it is also possible that DMing that person could be a way of providing some clarity and support. Although it's not ideal, it is a way to manage that. By focusing on constructive feedback and approaching disagreements with empathy and understanding, therapist communities can thrive, offering rich resources and support for their members. And then also keep in mind that you want to get help in a private way. Ask for resources for working with a specific population or clinical issue rather than sharing your case. This can look like, I need guidance around working with couples who have experienced infidelity, or I need support around working with teens engaging in self-harm. By presenting it this way, you can get resources that might help you and guide you, or you can even ask if someone is available to meet privately with you to discuss your case. This can be somewhat risky, however, if you don't know that person or you're not able to verify they're a licensed therapist who can provide appropriate consultation and understands the importance of confidentiality. And if you don't have this included in your informed consent, you do want to let clients know that you do seek out consultation at times to make sure that you're providing the very best care you can for your clients, but that confidentiality is still maintained even while getting consultation. So while therapist Facebook groups can be a way of connecting and getting support, if you're needing clinical support or guidance, your best bet is to go to your therapist bestie or consultation group for this type of need. I hope this was helpful. Some of what I shared today is what led me to creating the Collab Oasis consultation groups, where the foundation of our culture is benevolence, respect, and support. I am so proud of the way our members show up for each other inside and outside of their small groups. It's amazing to see the way we can pull together as a profession in a way that can be very different than you might be exposed to in some online forums. If you'd like more information about Collab Oasis consultation groups, you can check the show notes for links or go to collaboasis.com. That's COLLABAOSIS.com. For everyone listening, there are new episodes of the Colleague Down the Hall podcast released every Thursday on all major platforms. Please remember, our work is hard, but it doesn't have to be lonely.
Thank you so much for listening to the Colleague Down the Hall podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to colleaguedownthehall.com, where you'll be able to learn more about getting the clinical support you need and resources to help you work in a supported, sustainable way. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your therapy friends and colleagues. Subscribe to the podcast, and if you love this episode, please leave a review.